In this video, I want to talk about how to think about matrix multiplication. Most of the times, you would have a matrix of some dimension. Let's say that you have a dimension 3 by 3 matrix, and then you would like to multiply with another matrix, so the inner dimension of the matrix should match. Therefore, it has to be 3, and this can be anything. In this particular case, I'm going to assume that it's going to be 1. So for example, in this particular case, that you would have 2 1 0 1 0 0, and then 2 0 1. And let's just take some example values here, and the resulting matrix would be the, if you take the external dimensions and then write them out here, that would become the resulting matrix dimension, which is 3 times 1, which means it has 3 rows and 1 column. And each one of these values will have a specific way that you would compute. You would compute them by, usually people say you take the first row and then multiply it with the first column and add those individual values and put that value here. So for example, in this particular case, it would be 2 times 1 plus 1 times 2 plus 0 times 3, and this would be, the value would be 2 times 2, that would be 4. The problem with this way of thinking about this columns rotating and such, your mind can't think about taking this row, rotating it, adding it. It is too much work. Rather, this is another way of thinking about it. You don't change any of this left matrix, but rather any of the left matrix here, you just leave it as it is, but take the one from the column from the right matrix and put it right next to here and adding the plus sign. This might help you to not to think about rotations, but just adding values here and times 3. That would become the value for this row, and it would be the same thing for here. Three times 0, and then 2 times 1 plus 0 times 2 plus 3 times 1. So this makes it a little bit less of your mind to take the matrices, rotating it. Rather, it just makes it easier to imagine the right side coming to the left side as opposed to right side going to the left side going to the right side. And also it may help you to think about how to compose different kinds of formulations of these kinds of multiplications into matrices. If you imagine this way, there is less effort for your brains to think a lot more on what's really going on. Hopefully this helped, and thank you. That's all I have.